Welcome back to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison, member of Parliament for Niagara West. Joining me on the show today is George Glover. George Glover is the president of GM&F Partners, a company dedicated to helping serve nonprofits with growing their organizations. So I want to show you one more video here, and then let's talk a bit about some of the long-term treatment that you know very well.
Mr. Speaker, this young girl's family begged hospital treatment for their vulnerable teenager. Instead, she was given drug paraphernalia. This is all part of the radical experiment that the Prime Minister and the NDP have imposed and have contributed to 47,000 drug overdose deaths, with the biggest increases in the places where this approach has been tried. Alberta has reduced overdoses by 50% with treatment. Why won't he follow the science and back the plans that work?
Okay, so you've had many years. You grew an organization, Teen Challenge, but there are other organizations that do similar things. What is the difference between that kind of long-term treatment in terms of how effective it is and the success rate? And what are the challenges to providing that type of treatment here in Canada?
Yeah, good question, Dean. Well, 73% of addiction treatment programs, for instance, in the United States, include a spiritual-based element, such as 12-step programs that was initially popularized by Alcoholics Anonymous. And so, there are these faith-based programs such as Teen Challenge, Village of Hope, Wagner Hills in British Columbia, that really have a strong proven track record. They have a high documented cure rate, such as, sometimes 60 or 70% of the graduates, when surveyed 5 years after graduation from the one-year program, have remained clean and drug-free. So it's a very high statistic. But they also are not relying on government funding because they don't want to be subject to the whims of the politicians. So they're really donation based. So, they maybe can't always pay top dollar for their staff, but they do have a very high cure rate. So certainly spiritual based treatment programs definitely is part of the model to get things turned around in Canada. But then, there's 30-day programs that have a spiritual component to them. As I said in our previous sessions, that, the addict goes through sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 programs before they get to a program that's a great fit for them. And finally, something clicks that they get the turnaround, the aha moment that they need to get turned around. So, but, I think family and caregivers need to realize that, we don't get, maximum blessing with minimum effort. There has to be buy-in and an element of desperation from the person that needs the help. And there needs to be a very big commitment by the caregivers as well in the process.
So in terms, you've talked about a variety of programs from 30 days to, to a year. Am I making the assumption the longer you're able to be in a program, the higher the chance of success? Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. The data proves it so, that there's the staff that provide care, there's professional counseling, but there's also the peer-to-peer impact. There's people that go into a program, and they're in there in the first 30 or 60 days, such as Teen Challenge, and they meet somebody that's in the program, maybe in month 11, they say, you know what, I just used to be like you as well, and you got to give this a chance because it changed my life. And if it changed my life because I was hopeless, you can change as well. So the peer-to-peer aspect of some of these programs is a big factor in getting people turned around.
So we got less than a minute to go. Just your thoughts. I know Alberta has been talking about treatment. I know that the leader of the opposition is talking about treatment. What advice would you give premiers and politicians when it comes to looking at treatment programs?
Well, I think the powers that be need to take a look at all the options, look at the data, and really see what's working. Alberta obviously has taken a different approach, that they view that there is hope for the addict, and they've invested millions of dollars to say that we're going to build treatment programs that work. Other provinces have taken more a fatalistic approach, that really there is no hope for these people, so let's just make the best of it. But I think we need a government that really comes to the table and say, let's get all the players at the table and let's have a talk.
Well, George, thank you very much for joining us today. I do appreciate your insight, and I wish you all the best there, which is not such a new venture, but your current venture. Thanks again for coming today.